the hood champion. Boxing is sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So my question is this, right? After watching Sebastian Fundora and Erikson Lubin, the question is this: when should a corner stop a fight? Like, how much physical damage should a fighter take before the corner says, you know what, enough is enough? When we were watching that fight last night with Erikson Lubin, after he got hit with that uppercut real early in the fight, he just couldn't get out of the range. And Fundora is a guy who's obviously he's hard to fight. He's 6'5", 6'6", 147, 154, 54 pounds, and he has some power. I didn't think Fundora had power like that. I honestly didn't. But obviously there's something there. Now, when you talk about Fundora's skill set, he fought Lubin's fight. He didn't sit back and keep him on the end of that stick. He didn't jab, throw his right hand. He likes fighting in close. He says he likes excitement. He likes to entertain the crowd. A lot of people were expecting Lubin to knock him out, and Lubin did drop him. But Fundora showed how experienced he is in his ring IQ, because he knew he was hurt and he took a knee. So many fighters let their pride get in the way, and they refuse to take a knee and they get knocked out. Fundora recognized immediately, look, I'm hurt, I'm taking a knee. Lubin never took a knee, and maybe he should have took a knee at some point. Nonetheless, his corner should have stopped that fight like three rounds earlier. Lubin's face was just like completely disfigured. We've seen him fight, seen him get hit before. We never seen him get beat up. But he just didn't seem to be a kind of guy who face would swell like that. And his nose was broken, and one of his shoulders was dislocated. So we wish him a speedy recovery. But the way his face was swollen, both of his eyes, his forehead, his nose, his cheeks, I mean, he looked disfigured. And I'm not trying to be funny, because I don't think it's anything funny about last night, because I'm concerned about him and the long-term ill effects of getting beat like that in his face, man. He was just taking uppercut after uppercut, shot after shot, and he didn't even know how to tie Fundora up. He was trying to fight him, and he was trying to do what his corner was advising him, to avoid that right hand, Step to his left, come up on the top with the big hook, put him down. Or step to his right, come up on the top with the left hook, put him down. Because Lubin's a southpaw. He just couldn't get it done. So my thing is, at what point do we allow a corner who knows their fighter is capable of pulling off a fight, but for them to realize that, you know what, maybe this isn't a fight where they're going to pull it off? Because he took some serious damage. Now, I want to look at a couple images of boxers who took some serious damage, and just kind of talk about the severity of it, and at what point do we think they should have stopped it. But with Erikson Lubin last night, he has nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody knows he's a warrior. We know he has power. And I would say he's up there with the elite fighters in his weight class. But he was just matched up with somebody. And he said they had history. And Lubin has extreme power, but he just couldn't get it off last night. I think the guy is like 6'5", so when he throws his uppercut, you're right there. So it's going to have, and he throws short, crisp shots. So it may have more impact and more of an effect. And from the looks of it, Fundora has some power because he's stopping fighters. He just looks like this tall, Fantastic Four looking character, kind of cartoonish, but there's nothing cartoonish about him. But that being said, we're gonna kind of talk through some of these images and about when you think a corner should stop a fight. Now this is what Erikson Lubin ended up looking like last night. I mean, look at his eyes, especially that one on his right side, which would be your left. I mean, almost closed. Look at the swelling. You probably can't see it that good in this image. In between the eyes down to his nose. That's because he got his nose broken. Both of his cheeks are swollen. Looks like his jaw may even have been damaged. But his shoulder was dislocated. But to look at that man's face, that's not the Erikson Lubin that we used to see him. Nowhere in the world his corner should have let that fight go on. It just comes to a point where you got to stop it. You just can't let it go on. This next image is a gentleman who obviously took a hard shot, and his face was taking some extreme damage as well. But now look at this, right? This is I put this one in here. I'm strictly boxing. I like other sports, but this was an extreme case of when an athlete's taking damage to their face. At what point do you stop it? They didn't stop this fight. They let this fight go on. Look at what her face looks like here. She's an attractive lady. Look at what she ended up looking like. Like, when do they start thinking about the fractured skulls, bleeding on the brain? At some point, the doctor doesn't jump in. He's not up there talking to the corner. At some point, to me, the coaches should just say, you know what, you live to fight another day. Let's have a conversation about it. You may not agree, but do like what Chico Corrales' dad did and stop the fight against Mayweather. Yeah, he could have continued, but he was taking unnecessary punishment. Andre Bardo, I know you guys remember this. Look at him, clean cut, nice looking guy, but look at what his face looked like. He couldn't see out of his eyes. That fight should have never been allowed to continue. Tim Bradley and then messing around with Ruslan Prevednikov. They should have stopped that fight too. He came out victorious, but he was bleeding, and he had blood in his urine for months. He was dizzy, a concussion, and a lot of headaches. They probably could have stopped that fight too because he was taking some serious damage. This is another fight where you see a fighter that looks like his orbital bone is broken, because that's kind of what the eye does when you get that orbital bone broken. Swells shut and it becomes a kind of black purplish color from just the blood. We all know about Hasim Rahman and that huge contusion or hematoma he had on his head. I mean, when I was watching that fight, they ended up stopping it, but you almost wonder, like, if they get hit that hard enough, will it explode? Like, will it burst and blood come gushing out? Because that's what's filled up in there. It's just blood that fills up in there. But something like that, even if I was a fighter, I'd want to stop it. Like, I want someone to be honest with me and say, you know what, this is too dangerous to continue. If the doctor doesn't get up there and stop it, I would like my corner to stop it. Badu Jack, probably one of the worst cuts I've ever seen in boxing history, where they didn't stop the fight. He had his coach in the corner, Lou Duval, who was to me just made a horrible decision to allow that fight to continue. Absolutely horrible decision. Now, Badu Jack had some great moments in that fight against Marcus Brown, but there's no way in the world he should allow a fighter to go. I mean, it's just horrific. It looked like Freddy Krueger got a hold of him. That gash was something, man, that was so deep, you could see right through it. And it should not have been allowed to continue. He ended up losing anyway, but they should have stopped the fight before it just continued ripping and just traveling up to his hairline. Fernando Vargas was in a tough fight. He got knocked out in this fight, but once that eye started closing and swelling up like that, they shouldn't have let it continue. It should have stopped. This young man was in the UFC. He got hit and he started to develop the same thing, hematoma. Not too bad. This is probably a little more acceptable, but at the same time, you got to make a call. This is what's his name, man? El Perro Angulo. The eyes shut, man, getting beat down. I think that's I don't know, Frampton or Warrington won, but same thing. Then a headbutt caused this on Erikson Lubin. He ended up winning that fight, but look at the swelling that was caused as a result of the fight. Corner didn't stop it. He's a magnificent boxer. You can look at his face and can tell he didn't take much damage. But when you get hurt like that and you have that kind of swelling, you would think that it would stop the fight and just not let the boxer continue, just for fear of the unknown. So those are some images that I wanted to throw up there. But just going back over what happened last night with Erikson Lubin. At some point, these fighters are brave. They're gonna sit there. They're gonna fight. They're fighters. They're not afraid of anything. But they can't see what their face looks like when they're in the ring. They may be able to feel some discomfort, feel some pain, even with the glove. You guys, your sense of touch and everything comes with this hand. When they have that glove on, they can't rub and feel it. They can't get can't fully comprehend what's going on with them physically, unless they're able to feel or see it. And that's where the cornerman comes into play, where they make the best call for the athlete. And last night, I don't think Kevin Cunningham made the best call for Lubin. I think he should have stopped that fight earlier, because Lubin was messed up. Now, he's going to recover. We should see him back in the ring. But we just don't know what kind of long-term effects that's going to have on him. He took a lot of punishment, man. It was hard watching that. But, he's tough. He's resilient. He's going to come back strong. That being said, I hope you enjoyed the slideshow. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Shout out to all the veterans. Appreciate everyone's support. And as always, I'm in the breeze.